This next winter storm that we are tracking will impact areas further to the south, and I think we're going to have some overachieving snow totals with this event. We'll discuss where we could see that as we move deeper into this video, but we're going to get very detailed. Everything will be sectioned out well. After we speak on this system, there's another time frame of interest as we move into early next week. We'll give you the detailed info that we have on that, and then we'll continue just to dive deeper and deeper and deeper into the month of December, try to figure out the pattern and how it just continues to support more shots of cold air and more winter weather chances for the foreseeable future. So my name is Mitch. Good Wednesday evening. Hope you guys are doing well out there and have had a wonderful week so far. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please drop it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling tonight. So we continue to have some snow across the Great Lakes region, areas of eastern Canada, southern Ontario. We got some moisture developing across the Midwest. This has actually helped for some special weather statements to be issued out ahead of this band of snow for areas of Ohio, northern Kentucky, West Virginia, and surrounding states. We could get some light snowfall accumulations from this overnight. But this is the main show. We've had a snowstorm ongoing across Colorado. Heavy snow falling in the favorite areas of like northern New Mexico and the higher elevations. We got some moisture starting to scoot across the southern and central plains, Kansas, the panhandle of Oklahoma, and Texas. And then we got some Gulf moisture being tapped into down here across southeastern sections of Texas into Louisiana. So this is the big picture. But this area right here is really what we're watching with this next storm system moving in now. Watches, warnings, and advisories. We do have winter weather advisories in these purple areas. So this is new here in like the panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas, Amarillo, and just west of Guymon have winter weather advisories. We do have some special weather statements for like Oklahoma City, points west, and even south of Amarillo down here in Lubbock. This is for some light snowfall accumulations, and I'm actually surprised there's at least not special weather statements issued for like Wichita Falls, like south of this area, more so connecting these boxes more. And I think we're going to have some winter weather advisories issued in this area. By the time we wake up tomorrow morning, watch, we're going to have some winter weather advisories, but we'll see, maybe not. But winter storm warnings continue for the southern front range of Colorado, northern New Mexico. And here are those special weather statements across areas of the Ohio Valley and the Appalachian Mountains. This is for some light snowfall accumulations overnight. So we continue to have winter weather advisories for the lake effect snow. Let's go on and break down this storm system. We're going to start off around midnight tonight. This is in Eastern time. So, your timestamp's up here, but if you're in Central Time, of course, back this up 1 hour. So this is the middle of the night tonight. We got some snow breaking out across western Oklahoma, the panhandle of Texas, and some of these banding features could bring some heavy snow, guys. I'm telling you. You can see the Gulf moisture being tapped into down here. The dots will connect as we move forward, and let's continue to do that. So we start to move into the wee hours of the morning. This is 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Check out this snow. And you see the darker corridors of blue here, Amarillo to Oklahoma City. I'm telling you, it's going to be a thin band. It's not a widespread winter storm, but whoever's getting this snow could sneak around and get 1 to 3 inches of snow, I'm telling you. So Oklahoma City getting snow around 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right, we continue to move to about 7 to 8 o'clock. This is daybreak. We have this really thin, but I'm telling you, it's going to be a pretty intense line of snow here. So I would really watch for this. This could take some people by surprise. It's just trying to figure out where this banding feature kind of sets up. But it's cold enough up here for snow, just not a ton of widespread moisture. We take it to about midday. Let's just go to about lunchtime tomorrow. Let's go on and just move this entire picture more to the east here. You see this area of winter weather here, this purple? This is sleet. The blue is snow. And even though it shows green on top of the blue here, this is actually snow more than likely. So it shows a wintry mix starting to move into Little Rock. Still some light snow back here in Oklahoma, but we got an all-out wintry mix midday tomorrow across central Arkansas. And we continue to move this forward and we get into tomorrow afternoon. This is all rain down here in the green and yellow, but on the far northern fringe of this, it's cold enough for some snow. So Memphis, a little bit of sleet and snow tomorrow, it's very possible, but just north, more possible, I would say. And we continue to move this, and let's go on and shift everything further to the east and northeast. All right, this is around 10 p.m. tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. We got an all-out wintry mix in Nashville. In fact, if this run of the HRRR model is correct, let's get a little bit closer. This is some moderate snow flying around out here in Nashville tomorrow night. And then we keep it going and we move into about midnight. This is 1 a.m. Eastern time, Friday morning. Look at how dark that blue is. That is some heavy snow. Could we start out with some snow in like the Tri-Cities region of Tennessee right here? It's possible, but just look, you can see where the Tennessee Valley is. But the Northern Cumberland Plateau, north of Knoxville, this could be some heavy wet snow. Nashville, the latest HRRR model is giving you a few hours of a wintry mix late tomorrow night, but this is heavy wet snow all the way up to Beckley. You're right on the line here in Bristol, starting off as a wintry mix in western North Carolina. Asheville, I really think you guys are going to get warm nose pretty bad here, but let's just go on and get closer to this area. Let's continue to move this forward. And this has really trended to a faster storm system. Precipitation moving in a lot quicker. But we stop it here, guys. And I mean, it is snowing like crazy, just like a hair north of Hickory. Charlotte, it's all rain. Greensboro, it's all rain, but could start off as snow. In fact, it could actually start off as rain and then go to heavy snow, then maybe back to rain. But this is around 4 o'clock in the morning, Friday morning. I mean, this is heavy sleet and snow. You see the yellow corridors right in here? This is heavy precipitation trying to move into that cold air, but this is an all-out, quick-hitting snowstorm for Virginia. Lynchburg, Roanoke, Danville, Charlottesville, Richmond, Fredericksburg. It is snowing pretty good. This could be a solid front-end thumping of snow. So I'm telling you, you should wake up early Friday morning and really see this, because these are going to be some huge snowflakes. And as we continue to move forward, we get into about 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning here, and it is still snowing. It's still snowing in Greensboro. So, I mean, at this point, this is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-hour period of snow in Greensboro if the HRRR model is right. And I think that's a little overdone. But I really think that this is a winter storm criteria type storm. I mean, it isn't one of those major winter storms, but I think it's going to catch people by surprise. This is some heavy snow. And if I'm leaving you behind on the timestamp, I know I'm going back and forth here. But this is 6 o'clock Friday morning, and, you know, still some snow flying around eastern Kentucky, southern half of West Virginia. I hope you guys, winter weather fans, can get some snow out of this in Charleston. I know it just looks like it's all missing you to the south, but the green colors here, I'm sorry, not the green, the purple colors here, this is more so sleet. Any pink you see, that's freezing rain. And, you know, we keep this going here, and this begins to kind of climb up into the mid-Atlantic. So this is 9, 10 o'clock in the morning Friday, and we get some of this light to moderate snow all the way up here into the D.C. area. A little back-end snow in Beckley, maybe all the way as far south as the Tri-Cities region, but it looks like you got to get into southwestern Virginia, eastern Kentucky to really get into this. But I mean, this brings a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about a 9-hour period of snow into Richmond. I mean, and the snow tries to get all the way up here, and this is the last frame. The snow tries to get all the way up here in the Wilmington, Philadelphia, Trenton. So I have to see how far north this goes. This is as far out as we have on the HRRR model. If you notice I was talking really loud for that segment, it's because my neighbor has a really loud truck and decided just to crank it up. We'll start it there and just kind of sit there for about 5 minutes. So I had to drown out the volume of that truck. But let's go over snowfall totals right now. Let's update this, see if we've had some changes. No, thank you. Leave me alone. Going for around 1 inch of snow in Amarillo. It does show a little snow into southwestern Oklahoma, but just a touch, little hair. Now I want to show you what the HRRR model is showing, the HRRR model, what I just showed you with breaking down the storm. I think it's worth showing this. It wants to drop 1.5 inches of snow on Amarillo, but it shows the banding features into here. Like these colors you see here, if you look at the color graph down here, this is 1 to 3 inches of snow. Oklahoma City, you know, it wants to drop almost 1 inch of snow. It does, 1 to 2 inches south of Oklahoma City. So whoever gets this band, and it could go up here, it could be down here. I don't think it's going to go as far south as the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but we got to watch. Now, as far as the National Weather Service for snow in Arkansas, they're not calling for anything. But if you look at the HRRR model run, it shows a light snowfall accumulations kind of roughly north of Little Rock into Conway. Shows some light amounts, and I think this is very possible. This is for a few tenths of an inch, 1/2 inch of snow. So I'm not going to be surprised if we hear about some accumulating sleet or snow in areas of Arkansas as we're getting into tomorrow. And then same thing, Kentucky and Tennessee. The National Weather Service forecast not calling for much at all. like a dusting here and there, just not much, going for about 1/10 of an inch in Clarksville. About swallowed my spit again. Gotta stop doing that. But if you look at the HRRR model, it shows a solid dusting to a coating of snow from almost north of Memphis, Jackson, Tennessee, up to Clarksville to Cookeville, kind of south of the Somerset area, and it wants to drop a few inches of snow in southeastern Kentucky. So it really gets the snow going. Johnson City only gives you 1/10 of an inch, so it kind of hoodoos the Tennessee Valley. And I just think the southern Cumberland Plateau, like down to Chattanooga, stuff like that, I just think you're too warm. It's going to be mainly a cold rain, but who knows? Now, let's look at the latest snow. We're going to spend some time here. The latest forecast for snow in Virginia, North Carolina, and West Virginia. Right now, in the blue area, if you know what county you're in, I hope you do, because it's not going to list every town and city in Virginia and surrounding states, but Roanoke right now, their call is for 1.5 inches of snow. Charlottesville is about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Richmond, and this only goes out to 1 p.m. Friday, I want to add too. That's why we're going to show you some more graphics. But Richmond, between now and about early afternoon Friday, almost 1 inch of snow is in the forecast. Danville, same thing. Greensboro to Hickory, just shy of around 1/2 inch of snow. Now, I do think some ice will be possible in these areas too. But this is the HRRR model for this. It is absolutely slamming this area with heavy snowfall. In fact, it wants to drop 1/2 foot of snow southwest of Roanoke in these pink areas. But Danville, it goes for 3 inches. Greensboro, 2 inches. Hickory, 1.5 inches. Richmond, 3 inches of snow. And it just really hits southwestern and southern areas of Virginia hard with heavy, wet snow. And some people might look at this and the very conservative people and say there's no way this is going to happen, Mitch. I would say not so fast. I think there's a real possibility some of these totals happen. So this only goes out to about 1 p.m. too. So in some of these regions, like over here, it's still snowing. Now, if we go off National Weather Service forecast as far as how much they're calling for, and let's update this. See if we got, no, we don't, nothing new. They're keeping it safe, going for around 1 inch or so of snow across all these areas. I mean, pause the screen if you need to. Clemens, you can see at the bottom of your screen near the Winston-Salem area, about 1/2 inch. Nothing too crazy in this area. Now, they all are calling for some ice, guys. A few 1/100ths of an inch of ice in these areas. I am everywhere, but not a whole lot. Some areas could get 1/10 of an inch of ice or so. But listen, I want to explain this really quick about this front-end thumping of snow. Okay, I want to click kind of a sounding just southwest of Roanoke, kind of southwestern areas of Virginia. All right, the blue is snow. I'm going to click this. All right, it is 29 degrees at the surface. This red number, that is 29 degrees Fahrenheit at the surface. See that green? That's 28. That means the dew point is 28. So the dew point is riding right behind the air temperature. So that means that the atmosphere is fully saturated. So, like for example, if it's 42 degrees outside and the dew point is 42 degrees outside and the dew point's like 41.7. I mean, the atmosphere is just loaded with moisture. So that is how it's going to be, say, in this specific area of Southwest Virginia as we're getting into the early morning hours of Friday morning. I think this sounding was for around 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, Friday morning. So 29 degrees, that's plenty cold enough for snow. But then if you look at this blue line right here, that is the 32 degree line starting from the surface and then aloft. So 29 degrees, below 32 degrees, cold enough for snow. And then you see a little kind of bulge right here, a warm nose, where the temperature actually rises as you move higher up on this, which the further up in this line that you go, the higher up in the atmosphere you go. So you get up to about 850 millibars here. You see that 850? That's about a mile up in the air above where you're standing in this specific area in Virginia, right? You got about 500 millibars right here. And then, I mean, that's like 18,000 feet. So these dew points are riding right up against the air temperature, okay, all the way up into the upper levels of the atmosphere. So what I'm trying to say is the atmosphere is plenty cold enough aloft for snow and all levels of the atmosphere. Even this warm nose where it tries to spike, it doesn't get above 32 degrees to melt those snowflakes. And the column of air is super saturated. So we call this a saturated column. So to wrap all that nerdy stuff up, the atmosphere is going to unload snow. All the available moisture is going to come out of snow. So therefore, we're going to get these cotton ball snowflakes. It's going to be beautiful, kind of like what we talked about in St. Louis about a week ago Well, it was several days ago with the storm system. So I just wanted to explain that. I think some people are in for a real big surprise. And when it does that, these areas can get like an inch or two of snow in like an hour, hour and a half. So it can overachieve the forecast snow amounts a lot. So as far as areas as what I'm expecting with a surprise, I think Virginia is a big area here. And then certain areas of northwestern North Carolina. But this is the forecast snowfall totals for let's update this for areas of eastern Virginia. Richmond going for around an inch. Lynchburg an inch. I mean, not a whole lot different with all this, guys, and just a few 1/100ths of an inch of freezing rain. And then we'll bump it up to the D.C. area. Washington, D.C. going for around an inch of snow. A little bit of snow here in the Tidewater, Delmarva, half an inch, inch there. I do think there is some wild cards here if we can get more moisture in this region. I think this area is plenty cold enough for snow. It's just, are you going to get enough moisture up into this region? So I do want to show some love to my folks here in Long Island, New York City. You know, it does tease at the idea for some bands of snow to get up here, but right now, not expecting a big event by any means. And I do want to mention this light snow event later tonight across the Midwest Ohio Valley. This will drop a thin coating of snow across Illinois, Indiana, going for a few tenths of an inch of snow, and also into Ohio also. So I'll show you that. Some areas could get a half an inch of snow, going for around a half an inch of snow here in Cincinnati. So this will kind of recoat everything. If you've had some snow melt over the last day or two, this will probably put a new coating of snow across Ohio. So moving past this time frame, though, we're still watching the end of the weekend into early next week. You know, the GFS showed that crazy model run where it dropped a huge snowstorm across the southeast mid-Atlantic. Now there's energy around. We got energy diving in with a trough. We got energy popping off the coast of the southeast. Some phasing is trying to occur, and I do think we're going to have some snow kind of falling in the same areas that's going to get it here in the next day or two in the southern central Appalachian Mountains. There's some dots connecting here as far as phasing energy, but it just doesn't do it in time. So we're left over with kind of a rain-snow mix Monday, a little bit of snow in western North Carolina, but certainly the GFS is backed off. Now, what about the latest Euro? What is it showing? Do we not have the latest Euro? What's going on here? There's no way. Man, there must be something going on with the 18Z Euro, because that is very strange. It is not showing up for me. Let's try to do this, that, and the other. No. I guess there's just something going on with the 18Z Euro, so I don't have it. But the 12Z Euro has a pretty aggressive looking clipper diving down, has some energy Sunday morning. This is just a chilly rain across the southeast. These areas of energy try to connect. You got something off the coast of the Carolinas, some energy diving down into the western slopes of the mountains here. But in general, no dots connect. There's not enough cold air involved. So we get into Monday morning. We just got a chilly rain down here in Georgia and South Carolina. And nothing crazy or anything shows up. So right now, we've had a little bit of a backpedaling with this, but we don't know what the 18Z Euro showed either. The Canadian model has been teasing at this. The Euro AI model has been teasing at it. But right now, I'm not taking it super serious. But I do want to watch out for a rain-snow mix late Sunday into Monday night across some of the same areas. It's going to get winter weather here as we're getting into Friday. But this is the signal for Friday. But as we move into that next time frame of interest into Sunday into Monday, you can see the Euro Ensemble trying to show something here, tease at the idea for a little bit of snow at these areas, but I mean, it's not a heavy signal at all. So moving past that time frame, are we seeing anything else? I think that the pattern in general will be clipper dominated, northern stream dominated. So we'll start again for late this coming Saturday night. You can see this clipper diving in, and this could dump some heavy snowfall totals. Well, I would say some heavy snow. And it could dump some, I would say, a few to several inches of snow across areas in the Midwest, but it might not because this is such fast-moving energy. But as we continue to move, that moves through, and then we get into Monday, we get into Tuesday. Here's some more energy diving into the Great Lakes region, the upper Midwest. This will move into the Northeast, provide some more snow, pad the stats, and then a very aggressive area of energy dives down. This could bring cold air with it, too. 989 Clipper diving in. Look how heavy that snow is, those darker blues. This dives in, but mainly impacts the Great Lakes region to the Northeast, getting into Thursday of next week. Then we got a big trough that digs down, And who knows what happens with that. We could get some northwest flow event. We could have some more energy sliding down this trough. But it just mainly looks like northern stream type stuff. And then we get all the way to day 10 and another clipper dives in. So are we going to get any kind of tapping into the southern stream energy? Another way to look at this is just this big trough diving across the eastern U.S. So you see the blue and the greens. This is a trough, a dip in the jet over the eastern U.S. And this stays consistent through next week. We're getting into midway next week. We're getting into next Thursday, next Friday, and we have another reinforcing trough that drops down. So this area in blue is a trough of low pressure, a dip in the jet. It brings down cold air and can generate energy in the atmosphere, whether that's a weak storm system, a strong storm system, something in between, it can bring that. And then we got this ridge flex over the west, so cold air sliding down into the eastern U.S., and this continues. And then we have somewhat of a ridge showing up at the end of the run, but I think that I don't think this is going to last very long. In fact, you go all the way to the end of the Euro ensemble, it already wipes out that ridge, and we already got a solid pool of cold air showing up once again for the higher latitudes. So, but as far as the energy and what we're talking about, as we're getting into Monday morning, you can see some energy kind of between the main northern stream energy and any southern stream energy. So we got some energy kind of digging down here. And this is what could bring sort of that early week surprise next week. But then after that moves through, it just looks like our mainstream of energy sort of is moving up into here. So is it going to tap into anything down here? But most of our flow is kind of diving down like that. Now, I do want to watch as we move later in the next week. Maybe this dives down a little bit more. This could do something interesting, I would just say for now, late next week and the next weekend. But we'll watch for that. That is a signal for some energy, some more energy diving a little bit further south. One thing I will tell you is these just reinforcing troughs is going to continue to bring more and more cold air. So this is between tomorrow all the way through the 14th of December. So a 10-day period. And the entire eastern half of the lower 48 going with below average temperatures. The areas in blue and the green, this is below average temperatures that are forecast. So if your average high is 55 degrees, then, your highs might only be in the upper 30s to 40s. So you just kind of got to know what your average high temperature is for your specific area for this period, this early December period. But cold air continues to be locked in place, and we're getting some wild swings in model guys. For example, this was the Euro earlier this afternoon. Dropped a huge Arctic blast across the eastern U.S. as we're getting into late next week, into next weekend. And then turns around and drops another one. But then you turn around and you look at the Euro's drunk uncle, the GFS, and it wants to just pump a lot of warm air across the middle of the country. Drops a little cold blast late next week, but then it just throttles the entire southern tier and eastern half of the country with a giant ridge and well above average temperatures. So there's a lot of back and forth. At the very end of the run, like the very, very end of the run, like all the way into the mid-month time frame, it drops a lot of cold air in. But for the most part, there's a lot of just model windshield wiper effect ongoing. The last thing we'll end this with is the MJO. We've been talking about this like crazy, right? Phase 6, 5, and 4, these are our warm phases. Phase 7 is a transitional phase. Same thing with Phase 3. Phase 8, 1, and 2 are cold and wintry phases in the season of winter. So where are we and where are we heading? Well, right now it is the 3rd of December. So if this chart's right, we're firmly now in Phase 8, and we have raced there over the last couple of days. And this shows us staying there for the next couple of weeks. We might slip into that circle of death. That's where we have a low amped phase of whatever phase we're in. So the impacts of the actual weather might not actually there might not be a real big impact depending on what that phase normally brings. But we won't worry about that until we need to worry about it. Right now, we are in Phase 8, and then we look to hang out in Phase 8 for what could be a record-breaking period of time. If that happens, we're going to start to see even more adjustments to cold and wintry solutions for the central and eastern U.S. Coming up. And I made a post on X earlier saying I really think that we're going to start to see some haymakers as far as winter storms show up in model guides over the next 7 days. But we'll continue to watch this. We got a winter storm right in front of us to figure out. So we'll continue to figure out the pattern. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful night. And I do want to mention, I feel like I haven't had as much flow with these videos the last couple of days. when I start to get on a roll here and make 2 videos a day, I can start mixing up a lot of words. And for whatever reason, I've had a really hard time starting my videos. And I have to restart them like 15, 20 times sometimes, and I like waste 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes I waste like 20 to 30 minutes, guys, just starting the video, kind of the intro. And it has been a struggle. And the more and more I have to restart it, the more it kills my flow later in the video. So hopefully we can get more rhythm, and that happens. I mean, that's been I've been like that for the entirety of having a YouTube channel, and it comes in waves. I'll go like 3 or 4 weeks while I'm rocking and rolling, and then I'll go about 3 or 4 weeks where I'm just kind of stumbling through my words, stuff like that. So if that's messing with you guys, I apologize. Hopefully we'll get on a nice roll going forward. Have a wonderful night. We'll do it again tomorrow morning. God bless.